Hey y'all, it is your host Patricia. I want to thank you so much to tuning in today's episode of The Dialogue. So excited. It is the very first day of the beginning of the week and I feel definitely a sense of change. It's like a pivotal change taking place. And so I want to give some nuggets of wisdom to help people that are navigating out of circumstances into something new. And this is really for people that are in a place of the unknown. You can feel that something is taking place. You just don't know exactly what it is. Or maybe you do. Maybe you know what it is, but it's also the fear of going into it or the dread because you're not exactly for sure what it's going to require of you. So this podcast is going to be for you. It was created with you in mind. And so, as you know, our mantra on the show is that we are healing souls one conversation at a time. As we bring the content to you, hopefully throughout your day, you interact with someone. Maybe it's a stranger, maybe it's a cousin, maybe it's an aunt or uncle, someone, and maybe you have the answer to the problem because you decided to listen to the podcast. So first and foremost, I want to welcome you and I want to thank everyone that has been listening and or following. You are greatly appreciated and I hope that today's content blesses you. So today's subject topic is going to be by any means necessary. By any means necessary. And so today when I woke up, I normally get my titles for the podcast early in the morning. But for some reason, there has been such of a dread. Because how many of you know and understand that when you enter into something new, it requires something from you. There's like a speed and a pace. There's like a momentum. And you have to stay up to date. You have to stay anchored into that pace or else you would lose it. And so I've been pretty much trying to stay up with the pace. I also have a new baby. And so you can understand staying up with the pace of the new thing, taking care of my daughter, staying up on my care. And so this morning when I woke up, there was a dread because I've also been staying up very late. So just imagine I've been getting up early with my child. And she's been getting up early too. It's so funny. Some days I just wonder if she's going to be sitting there with her eyes open, staring at me as I'm still trying to sleep. But it never happens. I'm always up before her. Nevertheless, I've been staying up late and getting up early. And so at this point in my life, I find myself trying to maximize every moment of my life. Because I realized through the years, whether it was through abuse circumstances or circumstances that were out of my control or people coming into my life and invading my territory, I noticed that I feel like I lost a lot of time. And that could be true in a sense and not at the same sense because I was always learning. God was always dealing with me. He was always showing me some type of revelation. As long as I stayed in his face and stayed in his word. And oftentimes it was times when I didn't stay in his face, prayers you should. But there was always a prayer on my heart in regards to Lord, help me or thank you. He would always give me revelation. And so ultimately I was still able to arrive at this place, this specific season at my life. But I look back and I think about the days where, you just didn't feel like it. You just didn't want to. I mean, there were goals and things that you wanted to take care of, but you just weren't there yet. Your mind wasn't fully developed to understand that certain people that come into your life, they don't want anything. They don't want anything. Their want is simply to distract you, to simply pull you away from your goals and your dreams and your aspirations because you're two different people. You're going after different things. And oftentimes it is that some people just aren't going after anything in that season of their life, and that's okay. But you found yourself highly distracted, really unfocused, but still had a dream in your heart of something that you wanted to do. And so the purpose of this title, by any means necessary, is because oftentimes, and I put a post up today on Instagram. You can follow me there. It's just Patricia Tomlinson _ and also on TikTok, which is just at the dialogue too. I put a post up today and it was talking about the thread of unforgiveness or just a thread that keeps us connected to our past so much that we can't walk into our future. And oftentimes there are threads of emotions or feelings that keep us connected to people, places, and things that prevent us from moving forward. I myself found myself in a season recently where God really wanted me to sit down. He didn't want me to really do certain things, and I couldn't understand it. But that was what it was. I was the type of person always up, going, moving, doing, simply not being. And when he sat me down, he gave me a new way of living life, which is very simple. I take care of the goals that I have. I do my list of things that I need to do. I take care of my daughter and myself, my relationship with God, and that's it. But all of those points are extensions because it's not just this or that. It's all of it together. And so he was showing me today that by any means necessary, what does that mean for you? By any means necessary, you're going to get in shape and you're going to be healthy. By any means necessary, you are devoted to having peace. By any means necessary, you're devoted to being successful because you're the only one in your family that has this idea of wanting to be an entrepreneur or try something different to where you don't have to clock in and work all those hours. And so you're at a pivotal point in your life where it is by any means necessary. Any means necessary, you're going to graduate school. By any means necessary, you're going to stop holding a grudge. By any means necessary, you're going to forgive. You're going to do the work. You're going to get to doing the work that is going to benefit you so that you can be at optimal performance in order to fulfill your purpose and your destiny. Your destiny is something that is so unique. It is only something that you can fulfill. It is only something that you can show up for. And oftentimes, more often than not, if you do have someone cheering you on, it's a blessing. But sometimes you will not. Because people won't understand the season of your life that you're in. When you go from sitting on the couch or sitting on the phone all day to having to take care of your children or by yourself or cooking all the meals or doing whatever you have to do throughout your day, that is something that you're doing, you're devoted to doing. And no matter what, those things have to be done, even if you don't want to. If you have children, they can't feed themselves. If they can, it's a blessing. If you have a business that you started, it cannot run itself. Your health is your responsibility. And so all these things come together and they make a puzzle. And that puzzle seems like it's in 5,000 pieces and everything is everywhere. But you are so devoted to get to the place of completion. You may even feel like you have 5,000 pieces of a puzzle every day to put together, that no matter what you do, those pieces just don't never seem like they come together. It's just always something to do, always a to-do list or an errand to run. And so you find yourself in a place where you have to make up your mind. If it's the difference between having a phone conversation or finishing your homework, what is your decision going to be? And if it's the difference between going out to eat or staying home and making something healthy that's going to be beneficial for you in the long run regarding your health, what is your decision going to be? By any means necessary means making people uncomfortable because they can't have access to you like how they did the last season of your life. Because you have new goals. There's new things that you want to do, new adventures you want to take with new people. And that's okay, because in some seasons, everything happens and then some things don't. But that's okay. We always have our plans, but it's ultimately God's plans and purpose that come to pass. I'm reminded of a scripture. It's like Proverbs 16:9. It says, I believe, and I'm paraphrasing, that a man plans his way, but it's the Lord's way that actually comes to pass and prospers. And so in this time in your life, when your core principle or mantra should be by any means necessary, it means to show up to be the best version of yourself by any means necessary. And when you're doing that, you will find that executing your daily task may not seem as difficult because you're showing up and you know these are things that you have to do and you really don't have a choice but to do them because nobody else is going to. And when you get that resolve in your mind, I strategically and quite intentionally believe that you come to a certain point where you may be depleted or tired, or you're just extremely exhausted and you just feel like you can't go anymore. You don't have any fuel, you don't have any gas, but you're just stuck in the car because you don't want to get out of the car. You don't want to give up, but you just don't see the means and the ways of how you can keep going. And I firmly believe that is when God has a solution already planned for you. Because when you say by any means necessary that you're going to execute a vision or a goal or something that's been given to you, that is from God. He will always make sure that there is a way for the provision to come to you. And sometimes it seems like you have to wait and it's longer than normal. But God knows all things. He sees all things and he knows what you need. And so God is not slack concerning the things that he tells you to do for him. I've seen it. I've been in many situations. I just feel like my life is ran by miracles because I'm always in a situation where there's some type of need or something that needs to be lined up. And when I make the resolve, I am going to keep going by any means necessary. Once I get that next little thrust, the breakthrough is right there. And this is how you can see when God has you on trajectory to go a certain way, because he will keep parting the Red Sea for you. He will keep making ways for you. He will keep showing up and showing out. He will keep giving you resources, connecting you with the right people that can help you. God is very purposeful. And the reason why I get this feeling in my heart by any means necessary, because I feel like that's what God is saying about me. By any means necessary, my child is going to become exactly who I want her to be. By any means necessary, whatever friends I have to turn against her to not like her so they don't reach out to her. By any means necessary. So that she can focus and concentrate and hone down on the things that I want for her in her life that are going to affect other people. By any means necessary. I pray that staple over your life. I pray that for you. By any means necessary, that you will achieve every goal that God has ever placed in your heart, your mind, and your spirit. And I pray that because it brings him glory. So this was something very small. It was very simple, but it is very impactful because it's more of a mental resolve more than anything else. I pray that today this is your mindset. I pray that today that God is making ways for you to keep up with the resolve by any means necessary. And also I pray that you don't give up, faint, quit, and stop before your provision evolves to help you stay in the realm and in the mindset of by any means necessary. Stay blessed, everybody. Please share the podcast with someone. If you need more content, stay tuned. We're just chiseling through information that's going to help you stay on this journey called life. As you know, our mantra is that we're healing souls one conversation at a time. I hope that you have a blessed, peaceful day. But more importantly, I pray that you make your new mantra by any means necessary. Thanks, guys.